morning, Chairman Perry and members of the Senate Select Committee on Disaster Preparedness and Flooding. Thank you for allowing us to speak our hearts and minds today. As you've seen over the last couple of hours, this is impossibly difficult for this group to get up and do. We're doing it for our daughters, but it is not lost on us how difficult this is for you as well to hear this, knowing that you are parents and grandparents. We recognize how valuable your time is and are humbled by your willingness to share it with us today. My name is Ryan DeWitt, father of Molly Claire DeWitt. I'm here before you on behalf of my wife, Elizabeth, and Molly's older sister, Annie, who is also at Camp Mystic, and by the grace of God, is still with us. And Chairman Perry, I appreciate you recognizing that at the front half of this, but I want to correct you and say it's hundreds of children. My oldest daughter was in rec hall on the second floor catwalk, water at her ankles. This is a child who has been through the ringer with weather events prior to this, was in therapy for them for a year. And I feel compelled to share with this group that in the terror of that night, when she was on the catwalk with 100+ other girls, Annie, Molly's older sister, who was terrified of weather, found it within herself to lead her cabin in song and prayer in the face of what just months prior would have brought her to her knees. And I feel compelled to say that because my pride for my oldest daughter, Annie, is immeasurable. She's stronger than my wife or I. And I know she's going to watch this, and I want her to hear that out loud from her dad. Molly is one of the precious lives lost during the July 4th flood, along with her 26 newly minted sisters who had formed an inseparable bond in just a week's time. Molly was and still is a bright light in this often broken world. She embodied so many amazing qualities despite her brief 9 years on Earth. She squeezed more into 9 years than many do into 90. Saying Molly was larger than life is no exaggeration. She was a humble little girl, so these next several bits would make her cringe, but I know she'll forgive me. Molly's relentless curiosity led to questions at all hours of the day and night, many of which I had never pondered as an adult, but probably should have. She wanted to know how and why the world worked the way it did. Some of it fascinated her, and some of it devastated her. She educated our family through her thought process. Her compassion was overflowing, always looking outside her circle of friends to see who else she could include, who might not have as many friends. She was drawn to those on the margins, the homeless, refugees displaced by war, children with disabilities. She said to me one night in bed, "Dad, it hurts my heart to see people hurt." I have replayed that moment so many times over the last 7 weeks. Her generosity followed her compassion, often coming home from school and asking if we could buy things on Amazon for students that couldn't afford what we could. She would get very upset with me for not emptying my entire wallet for every homeless person we encountered. Her creative spirit was ever present, which she inherited from her mom. She planned to take over Elizabeth's interior design business when she got older, while running a taco shop on the side to appease Dad's career in the food industry. Her conviction was unwavering. What others thought and felt mattered deeply to Molly, but did not necessarily drive her decisions. Those were all her own, oftentimes to the chagrin of Elizabeth and I. Her athleticism and drive were remarkable, a talented soccer player from an early age. She didn't understand giving less than 100% of the time. It just didn't register as an option for her. That was evident in everything she did. Her faith in God was deep and unwavering, which Elizabeth and I always emphasize as important, but something that she took to another level all on her own. We continue to find notes and papers of prayers that she wrote to herself that are evidence of her love for our Lord. Molly was radiant, stunning in a way that went far beyond her appearance. Her beauty wasn't just seen, it was felt. Her expressive face told stories of joy, mischief, compassion, and light. Her vivid blue-green eyes held remarkable depth, connecting especially with those who felt unseen. She made people feel known, not just with her words, but with her presence. Molly's beauty was most powerful because it reflected the love and empathy she carried within. Molly's presence brought joy and inspiration to everyone she knew. She lived generously, loved deeply, and left a lasting impression on hearts far and wide. And most importantly, Molly was in ongoing awe of her older sister, Annie, every minute of every day. Annie taught her things Elizabeth and I could not. Molly was her biggest fan and always will be. The joy on her face when Annie allowed her to hang with the older girls cannot be put into words. For Elizabeth and I, our greatest life achievements are our daughters, Annie and Molly. What I've noticed over the last several weeks through texts and conversations with our new family seated next to me and behind me is that while Molly was no doubt unique in her own ways, she shared so much in common with her 26 new sisters. These young ladies were cut from the same cloth, destined to lead with love and change this world. And the two counselors from Bubble Inn, and I don't want this to take away from the counselors from Twins, who, as has been previously stated, did everything they knew to do and followed directions. But Molly was in Bubble Inn, and those two counselors, Chloe Childress and Catherine Ferruzzo, were without a doubt a 10-year fast-forward snapshot to where our girls were headed. They were both set to start classes here in Austin this coming Monday. They were loving, strongly rooted in their faith, and selfless. They will forever be heroes in our hearts. When we dropped Molly off at camp, Annie had been for the last 3 years, and on the ride there, she kept on saying, and looking at the clock, she knew she was getting dropped at 10 a.m., she kept on saying, "Oh, only 45 minutes till I don't see you guys for a month. Only 30 minutes till I don't see you guys for a month." We got out of the car. I gave Annie a big hug. She had been through this before. She looked me in the eyes and said, "I got this, Dad." She was homesick every time and worried every time, but she always pushed through. My goodbye with Molly is something I will never forget. She walked up to me. I was on one knee. She gave me a big hug. She pulled back. She grabbed me by both arms, and she looked me directly in the eye. No less than 10 times, with eye contact I had never experienced from this little girl, she said, "I love you, Dad. I love you, Dad. I love you, Dad." While I'm so grateful for that goodbye, that moment haunts me today.